Hello and welcome back. We're continuing our British Republic run, although really, truly, it's becoming more and more the singularity. Just one nation where there will be peace and prosperity. So we are trying to do a world conquest here, and this might be the very last episode. We only have 80 countries left to conquer, which kind of seems like a lot, but I realized a lot of these are our subjects who will have a 25% chance of going down without a fight, and we might be safe-scumming that a little bit to make sure that it's a 100% chance, just with some tedium, although it is a lot of tedium. I think if we declare to annex some of these guys, they do have some sorts of defensive pacts with each other, so we will see, for example, here, we will be fighting two people if we try and annex Nagpur, and so we will be getting into it. It will require us to do a lot of wars. Also, because we want to suffer, we might end up going for tripling construction at some point, because we want to suffer a whole lot. So the starting war, we are going to go after reduction of autonomy on Turkey. I think this is the last dominion or lower subject that we have, and Circassia is a subject of theirs, but we'll just be annexing them in one go here. So we get the last grain tech, which absolutely collapses the price of grain from being like minus 10 to being minus 62% chance. Expecting to see a lot of these buildings fired down. We had been holding back some of the PMs here for the sake of, producing more grain for decreasing the price of that, but we're going to stop doing that, and we're going to instead switch to all being producing secondary goods. We're also going to make sure that everything that is not a rice farm is using steam-powered threshers. The rice farms, of course, firing more pops, generally have places that have unemployment, so we're not going to touch those, but this is going to mean a huge increase in SOL for us overall. Really, that last grain tech might be one that is kind of worth keeping your eye on now, because it will really significantly decrease grain price, which is going to help for your lower strata, at least if you have an SOL that's not that high. Expecting to see SOL kind of take a big jump after this, and also we're going to be annexing Spain and their subjects. So on top of that, with this next upcoming war, kind of hoping that France joins in, but I think it's kind of unlikely that they do. They only have like a plus 25 or whatever. If Tunis joined in, that would be spectacular, but this will be the end of Spain as we know it. For whatever reason, we didn't annex Circassia. I'm guessing it's because the logic of reducing autonomy on Turkey went through first, and then with Circassia switching over to being our subject rather than Turkey's subject, we just didn't get the annex, but that is unfortunate because that means one more extra war. This will be a nice little war for us to tidy up India, where we are going to have, they're all supporting each other's independence, and so we're going to have a whole bunch of, we're going to be able to annex 6 people in a single war here. We accidentally leave Spain with this tiny treaty port, which really makes us sad. Looks like, in addition to the chainsaws outside, we will be getting all of Canada in addition to Mexico in a single war. We can put in all these war goals because, of course, we have the opposite. We have Mr. Lion McFarland, the opposite of a cautious man. We have a reckless man who is giving us a plus 20 maneuvers per diplomatic play. This, of course, layered with the fact that we have offensive planning, which pairs well with the chainsaws outside, gives a minus war goal maneuver, which is going to make it so, we have a ton of war goals we can put in. So maybe it's the case that we should be, or should have been, safe-scumming these secession movements. This is how you used to do world conquest before 1.7, which we haven't really done. It's very tedious, but the fact is we've basically had an entire, 100-day escalation period where we can't start a war, and we have to annex 72 countries, which means this is going to be a little bit tight because we could start a little over 3 wars an entire year, but only if we don't have these secession movements, which brick us. So this is bricked like one of our 3 wars, and we only have, what is this? We have like less than 30 years left, and so things are a little bit tight in regards to just how many years we have to do all of these wars. So we might start safe-scumming the appearance of these movements, which is, completely RNG, and there's nothing you can do once they've already spawned, these secession movements, and they're inconsequentially difficult to handle, but what they do is they brick us for like a third of a year in terms of being able to deck wars if the timing is really bad. If the timing lines up perfectly with us declaring a war, then it almost is trivially inconsequential, but if in the case of the Slovene one, we've had almost this entire movement so far has been in a period of time where where we could have been declaring another war had it not been for the Slovene secession. So we passed total separation, not really because we wanted to pass it, but more because this will make it so that more pops are accepted. In fact, all pops will be accepted. So hopefully this decreases the amount of radicalism we're getting, and this decreases separatist movements. I think since we're conquering the world, we might as well also go for best in slot for companies as well. And so we'll be trying to keep an eye on that. There's a couple swaps we want to make, but we are constructing stuff up so that we can make those swaps. And also we have passed the 5 billion GDP threshold pretty handedly. We're just going to continue on. Looks like Germany wants to rumble, and by wants to rumble I mean resigns themselves to their fate, helping to accelerate the process by siding with Denmark. Denmark we were just kind of going after because we did want to clean up all of Africa so that we could say we conquered all of Africa, and Denmark had a little bit of Africa. So we went after Denmark, and we made sure to go after Denmark up here so that this would give Germany an opportunity to join, and now Germany is going to be very, very slappable with just a single war. After we conquer all this, we will be able to conquer all the rest of Germany. Germany has now been reduced to 4 enclaves, with, of course, who could forget a subject enclave, for a total of 5 enclaves, with Austria still having 4 enclaves as their, status here. I am quite proud of myself with this one, especially considering I have not been intentionally putting in I've just been grabbing at the states, not really caring which state we grab, with the exception of a few, like Silesia we made sure to grab, but at this point it's kind of unimportant, and I just love how we're getting split up into multiple enclaves all over Europe. We're looking to get kind of all the colonies of the Netherlands in Africa, and we got this pretty nice war because a whole bunch of people joined in, and we are going to be able to full annex Luxembourg, Sintang, Hawaiian Islands, and I think we have enough maneuvers to go after Brazil, but we're going to wait a little bit till maybe here in terms of the mobilization. That way we can make sure that no one else joins in, and we would have preferred to go for them. Actually, I think we'd prefer to annex Brazil to annexing Switzerland, and I really do think we have enough maneuvers. We half counted it, half eyeballed it, and so why don't we put it in while we're recording? That way if we're wrong it's really embarrassing, and if we're right then we look really smart because we have eyes and we can read and we can do math and all this sorts of stuff. Look at that, look at us. Nice little pat on the back. But this is going to be really nice because we are going to be annexing several people during this play, right? We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're just going to be in 6 because we're not annexing Occitania. Oh well, that's fine. We won't annex Occitania. Brazil I think is a better target anyway. Our colonial efforts in Africa have borne fruit, claiming a sizable part of the continent for our own design. Sizable. Definitely sizable. If I were to describe a word, if I were to use a word to describe the British dominance here in Africa, it would be sizable. Not overwhelming, not near complete, but in fact sizable. What will we get? We'll get a little prestige. This should help us to pull ahead of some of the many other countries that are very prestigious, help to increase the gap, because we're a little afraid that their prestige might be nearing ours, and so this will help out to prevent anyone who is not our subject from contesting us, such as the French Commune with 250 prestige. Alright, we get a bit of bad luck here because Netherlands actually backs down to that play, which means we don't get to annex 5 people like we want to do. Alright, so we are encountering absolutely huge bananas convoy problems. We can't get past them really because we need to ship everything across this little strait, but that everything is a lot of things when you're engaging in a world conquest, so we need to get kind of in the contiguous continent here, and so we're gonna have to move the capital over. I'm not really sure where the best place for the capital is. I know there's some weirdness here where they have to cross the strait, but we have access all the way through, basically through everywhere. I guess Spain's not connected except through Occitania, but everything's connected, so we're going to move the capital to Beijing, the market capital, and look at that. We suddenly have a whole bunch of convoys. Instead of having, negative 100... that actually reduced that from 240,000 to 143,000. So we actually just don't need all these ports. But the problem is this going to give us minus 10% throughput on everything for 5 years, decaying. But that's better than everywhere not having market access. So everywhere will have market access, an abundance of market access, and not only that, we also were encountering problems with the fact that we were having to use, let's put that on, we were actually having to use modern ports, which use up a lot of oil, so now we can swap back to industrial ports and still be more than like able to kind of have all the convoys that we need to support just the port connections, because there's going to be port connections to go back to the UK, sure, to cross this little area, and there's also going to be port connections to get over here. I suppose the very best place is probably Beijing. Actually might be really good. The best place is actually probably Chukotka, where it would actually connect. Yeah, we should have put it there. Oh well, not too big a deal overall because we have just a massive abundance anyways. But this would have been the best place for the trade capital because it would have only had to cross this strait in order to get into the Americas. And so this would have been the very best place. But haven't had to do that before. This is definitely a UK thing where, man, do you like ever suffer in terms of the convoys relative to someone who can get continental and actually have like a path over things. And like this, the fact that overland is free for the convoy, the port connections thing is kind of, well, like shipping was really nice for the UK, and the fact that shipping in terms of the game mechanics is really actually kind of rough for the UK as you get deep into the game, relative to anyone who would be kind of over here like Turkey or Persia or this type of stuff where you could get a contiguous land route to something, is kind of a little bit strange. But we solved the problem here. Well, this is going to be rough because the throughput penalty even applies to government administrations. I guess it's like actually on everything. Let's see if it applies to construction sectors as well. It does apply to construction sectors. Oh my god, this is gonna be something. It's gonna be a time. So it's becoming apparent that making a bunch of enclaves was actually silly, because we get some stuff like this Croatian uprising, which they just back down to. I'm not sure what that's about, but now Croatia is fully free, which represents a whole nother war. Also, Austria is not going to be able to win this war against the rebellion, or the rebellion's going to take forever in it, which means we can't go against Austria in this time period. So maybe a bit of a mistake, but it's definitely still memey to just like, I don't know, draw polka dots with Germany, North Germany and Austria all over the top of Germany. With this battle, we will get the last of Spain. We unfortunately, I don't know if we pointed this out, and you can see the game is really laggy at this point, because it's laggy because some idiot decided building 30k construction was a good idea, but it's also laggy because the more states you control, the more things have to calculate as a result of migration, as well as we're building new stuff in states, because we're trying to see kind of what we could do with the GDP a little bit, and this is definitely taking us forever to do. Really choppy. But here, this is going to be the continent of Africa secured for Britain with the end of this singular battle here, just as soon as we get it. Oh no! We clicked away. Not like this. Luckily, it's lagging so much. Oh wait. Just kidding. A second battle was required, for they were all of them deceived, for a second battle was needed. But with this, we will secure all of Africa. We also noticed that we forgot the treaty port over here on France, because treaty port's not under the conquer state period spot, so we are also going to need to take that treaty port off of France, which is unfortunate that it's going to require another battle, and some of these guys are going to require multiple wars. Argentina didn't require multiple wars, but Japan is going to require multiple wars, although I'm not sure how that mathed exactly, because we couldn't put everything in on Japan, but somehow we got everything but Hokkaido. I'm a little confused, but we do get Al Rif, and some lag, and with that, the British Republic has secured all of Africa. So this will be the last war we have with people over 500 prestige. We've gone to annex Turkey, and Occitania has joined in. These are the last two major powers left remaining, or sorry, not major. The last two minor powers left on the map that we have to take out. It's pretty nice that Occitania joined with, because things are actually starting to look a little bit grim. I'm not sure that we actually can get all this through, this many annexes. Now, to be fair, a couple of these are revolts, and we obviously don't have to annex both the revolt and the other one normally, most of the time. So, for example, Communist Austria will eventually give up to Austria, but we are going to be looking to annex these last two, after which it's just cleanup mode, although it's been cleanup mode for some time now. As far as tech goes, we are kind of trying to tech for the eventual. We want to see if we could get like maybe just under 70,000 construction, maybe. We've done this before, like on patch 1.0, and so we are going to be researching towards that end, not having anything to do with military or expansion, because we researched aviation all the way to here, and then we were like, nah, dog, we actually don't need that, but actually it'll only take us 1 week, so I guess we might as well. I don't even know if we put in the PMs, though. It's so gratuitous. It's so unnecessary. Yeah, I don't even think it's worth it. We're just going to go compression ignition here, and then into arc welding, which will give us the very best construction tech, but also, the steamer's tech is also decent. But most importantly, compression ignition, one of the very best techs in the game, and we basically don't benefit at all from tech spread at this point, because there's no one left to research other stuff for us to spread. So we really have to actually research some of the stuff ourselves. I guess, for example, with mechanized farming actually getting it in. And we also had a ton of unis. We deleted about half of them, and now we're around 570 uncapped. We probably should have deleted more, but like, as in terms of our overall budget expense, it's really not that big a deal in terms of having not deleted the amount we should have. So we finish up that war, annexing both Turkey and Occitania, and I think we're going to conclude this episode here. This episode, we got quite a bit of progress. There were 80 countries, there are 80 countries total at the start of the episode. Now there's 42 total. This includes a couple of revs, so we're on our way. I think we will be able to do it in time for the annexation, but this is going to be a bit of a shorter episode because it's taking us a really long time to record, because time is passing very slowly here. We did get a GDP up to 7.5 billion, which is the biggest we've had in quite a long time. SOL is even pretty high. We have a lot of pops here, and we are combating radicalism quite well because we're actually running super low taxes. We might need to crank this up if we want to get to just under 70,000 construction, but I think that the major story of this episode is we finished annexing all of Africa and all of North America, except for this, which never colonizes ever, or takes forever to colonize. I don't know what that's about. I don't even think we're going to colonize it before the end of the game. So to the extent of complete map painting, this is actually where we're going to miss, because since we can't colonize this before the end of the game, and we didn't acquire this super early, it looks like we're going to be bricked on that front. But yeah, there's no one big left. There's no one big left. Well, I mean, there's one big person left, and that's it. They said be the bigger man, so we became the bigger man. We became the only man, as it were. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing. And other than that, have a good one.